Evening. A little bit of a thought tonight. Forgive the ankle. I'm out of the garage and I don't have my bass with me. The whole thing about Mark Robinson has exploded in the last 2 days with his with the revelations of his past. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. I'm not going to repeat it. But the thing about him and what MAGA has done, and especially evangelicals, is they've hijacked my religion, my Christianity. They have hijacked it with some kind of, with false piety, showing themselves to be better than us, but not following the teachings of Jesus, period. Everything they advocate is not what Jesus advocated in his sermons or in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. In fact, they violate or basically go against the words of Jesus in Matthew 6, 1 through 4. Beware of practicing piety before others in order to be seen by them, for then you have no reward from your Father in heaven. Their performances, especially like Mark Robinson's, and then all other evangelicals who think they're better than, they're more holy than all of us because we support the immigrant, we support people's rights, we know that the Bible has nothing to do with abortion. There's nothing in it. All the things that they advocate are not Jesus' teachings, but they have sold it. They have sold it as some kind of religious fervor. Basically, like militant Islam. Militant Islam has nothing to do with Islam itself. So that's the reason I'm saying this is that I had a few back and forths with MAGAs over Mark Robinson, and they just get this whole pious thing, he's on a mission from God. He's not my God that this man's on a mission on. He's on Trump's mission. That's their God. Look, I don't go to church anymore. And that's because my church was taken over by MAGA. When we first got to Georgia, we were looking for a church, or my father-in-law was a part of a Methodist church. As an ex-Catholic who went to Catholic school, being a Methodist was cool. It was like, to me, Catholic light. And our first pastor was a great pastor. He was in a wheelchair, really good man, preached the Word of God, was helped our family in some situations. He moved on because of his health. And we got another pastor who we didn't even call pastor, we called brother. Very few people I've met I consider men of God or people of God who really are part of spreading his word on this earth. My mom was one of them. This man was the other. He got transferred. I still don't know to this day why he got transferred. I heard rumors that he got transferred because a lot of the old folk didn't like his message, because a lot of the old folk were getting into the Trump evangelical BS. Then they dropped in the older preacher on us. This man was what they wanted. And I remember the day that the Supreme Court ruling came down that allowed gay marriage across the country. And when we came into church, he was at the altar praying. He was praying, and on his sermon was about that. And that he was praying to God to forgive us for what they did. That was the end of us going to church, because it was over. And that's what a lot of us have been forced to do, is deal with that. Now, some people are coming back, but many are still hanging on to this, to this false prophets, to this false god they worship now in Donald Trump. Once the election's over, and I'm sure, I'm confident that Kamala Harris will win and we're going to move in a new direction. Religion is going to take a hit, organized religion. But always remember this, if you're a true believer, whatever religion you are, you can still practice it. You don't have to be in an organized situation. My mom always told us that when one or two are gathered in his name, Jesus is with you. So I keep that in mind when you pray. No matter what you pray or who you pray to or how do you practice your religion, understand it's a personal choice. And the biggest problem with religion or these false prophets and these evangelicals is that they don't mind their own business, as Tim Walz says. I worship as I worship. I believe as I believe. I follow the true teachings of Jesus. So I don't need your religion. I don't need your organizations. I don't need the Pope opening his mouth about abortion because there's nothing in the Bible about abortion. So I don't need these false people. What I need them to do is stop calling them Christians, stop calling themselves Christians, and call themselves worshipers of Trump. You guys have a good night.